Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the First Click Show here on First Clicks. And let's just click straight into this one because there's a lot to catch up to. Okay, and our first story of today is coming in from Microsoft actually leaking Windows 11 and... No, of course not. When do you think you're watching, right? Like... You think I'm gonna report on this shit, right? What do you think you're watching, dude? Okay? Our actual first story is coming in from Mac Flippin' Rumors, and they are reporting on Apple apparently figuring out if they should become a healthcare company. I mean, this is wild. The project, which is since stalled due to internal concerns, was to offer customers an all-encompassing healthcare service that would integrate data collected from the iPhone and Apple Watch. On the project heels, an internal team studied how data collected from the Apple Watch could improve healthcare services. I mean, until now, this is actually what people announced on stage. I feel like in 2015, I feel like this is what they announced, right? They wanted to come in with healthcare features for the Apple Watch, especially in the future, and that are also going to keep healthcare professionals up to date with updates later on. Especially with later iterations of the Apple Watch, there were way more features that actually resembled this project a lot. But it gets spicier and spicier. One of its most ambitious healthcare ideas was a plan to offer primary care medicine, conceived in 2016. According to documents and people familiar with the plan, an Apple team spent months trying to figure out how the flood of health and wellness data collected from users of its smartwatch, first released in 2015, might be used to improve healthcare, the people said. The team decided one of the best ways to realize that vision was to provide a medical service of its own, said people familiar with the plan. Linking data generated by Apple devices with virtual and in-person care provided by Apple doctors. Apple would offer primary care, but also continuous health monitoring as part of a subscription-based, personalized health program, according to these people and documents. Now, this is absolutely wild. I don't know. I mean, I do have a few friends in the United States that tell me that healthcare in the United States, especially public healthcare, is the worst it has ever been. Now, does that mean that there is a possibility in this matrix that you come home from an Apple doctor and say, well, this bill is actually more fair than what I would have got from public healthcare? I mean, if that is the case, I would be in. Anyways, this article specifically said that the project is stalled, however, and not cancelled. I don't know if that means that Apple is still researching it and trying to figure out if they should actually do this, maybe in a post-COVID world, or if this is just a matter of time and Apple is just going to turn into a healthcare facility as well. Our second story of today is Facebook finally launching their podcast service. I mean, guys, you should have known that was a joke. Like, what program do you think you're watching? Actual second story is coming in from Apple Track, okay? Pay attention, please. YouTube is finally introducing picture-in-picture mode for the iPhone. With a slight catch. Picture-in-picture video will be available for all users, not just premium subscribers, according to Mac Rumors. The feature was enabled/disabled on and off over the course of months and is now rolling out to all users. Now, that last sentence has a little bit of a catch there, because according to other articles that I have read, this is just in the United States. So we in the EU, we asked out. I don't know if you guys have ever watched a video from Flossie Carter, but that is how he would have called it. Some more quickfire then, going back to Mac Rumors, talking about Intel, and Intel is actually about to lose a big share of the notebook market. Intel may see its market share fall to a new low next year, in large part thanks to Apple's decision to move away from using Intel processors for its Mac computers and instead use Apple Silicon. Now wait until you hear what the source of this article actually has to say about how this is going to go down. As a result of 4 Macs with M1 and upcoming releases, Intel this year will lose 50% of its orders from Apple, and eventually losing all orders from the Cupertino tech giant will lead to Intel's market share falling below 80% in 2023, according to GigTimes. However, Apple's in-house developed ARM processor series is expected to play a key role in taking a major chunk from Intel's share in the upcoming year, the sources said. Intel is expected to lose nearly 50% of its orders from Apple in 2021 and will eventually obtain no orders from the client, losing Apple's 10% market share and seeing AMD staying firmly with another 10%. Intel's share in the notebook market is likely to slip below 80% in 2023, the sources noted. I mean, they called it competitive fun, right? And I don't know who is laughing, but it definitely ain't those Intel shareholders, I can tell you that. Going to Cult of Mac real quick, we got Luke actually reporting on what the next steps are of the demise of Intel. Because according to this article, TSMC is already looking forward to what is beyond A15. TSMC is already looking beyond the A15 chip that will come with this year's iPhone 13. According to a Friday report, the world's biggest chip fab company is fast advancing its 4nm and 3nm processes, ready for mass manufacturing. The DigiTimes report notes that TSMC's 4nm process will move into risk production in the third quarter of 2021. Risk production is a smaller production run of new hardware to sort out any problems. If there are none, it can then progress into volume production. The same report also claims that TSMC's 3nm production process will commence volume production in the second half of 2022. I mean, I feel like this will be the final nail in Intel's coffin. I mean, on a side note, these people are still stuck at 14 nanometers, right? Or 10 plus nanometers, however you want to market it, right? It is absolutely disgusting, and this will get so humiliating that I am not sure if this is competitive fun or just straight up torture. And then we finally have the story we all came here for. This is Apple Track coming in with a confident report on the M1X MacBook Pro 14 and 16 inch, reportedly coming this October/November. Let's get into the article. The all-new redesigned MacBook Pro with M1X inside will be released in the fourth quarter of 2021. According to a new source with a credible track record, Dylan DKT, 81.3% accurate. Dylan DKT, who accurately predicted details about the new M1 iMac ahead of launch, says this is what we should expect to see on the upcoming MacBook Pro. A new design with 14/16 inch display options, but no MacBook Pro branding on the bottom bezel. The M1X chip with more CPU and GPU cores, and support for 4 Thunderbolt ports. A 1080p webcam, which would be the first ever in a MacBook, and we should expect it to release in late October or early November 2021. Now this is obviously good news, and it sounds actually really realistic, since we got the first M1 MacBook Pro also in the end of 2020, so it should make sense. Also, more and more of these rumors are starting to stack up from different sources that are quite credible, right? Kinda like WWDC, right? That is why we have the warning screen in front and end of every single video, so keep that in mind. But this sounds really realistic. I mean, it happened last year. It should mean that it can happen this year. Anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning into today's episode. Don't forget that in the description down below, you will find all the links to today's articles that we handled, so you can read them at your own pace and in full context. Definitely do that, and definitely stay subscribed, because if there are any updates on the stories that we handled here today, you will see it here on First Clicks. So don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, and for now, I hope you guys click on.